How much of the blame pie should Monti Ossenfort eat? Should house be cleaned? And is Buddha on the move? I'll ask a dear friend. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, part of the #1 sports podcast platform in Locked On. Happy Christmas Eve. I wish that I didn't have coal for your stockings, but I got some damn coal for your stockings. Just the way it is in Arizona Cardinals land nowadays. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I thought that I'd bring, a helpful elephant. Why don't we do it that way? Cam Cox, 12 News, Tag Brotherhood. What's up, bro? How's it going?
What did you call me?
An elf? At least he didn't call you Scrooge or something, or the Grinch.
Dude, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all your listeners out there, man. Listen, there is nothing more on this earth I'd want to do around the holidays than talk about this football team with you. So before we get to Christmas, before Santa comes, drops all the gifts off, before we start rocking Christmas music for the next 48 hours, let's get this out of the way. Let's get this out of the way. And then we can reconvene after Christmas, right? And maybe in the new year. So this is a perfect way to kind of get it all out. Let's get it out, and then we'll go celebrate Christmas. There we go.
Yeah, let's do that. So there's a couple things that everybody's been talking about. I try to go very quickly on multiple topics with this because it's like we can talk about Monti Ossenfort for 30 minutes. We can talk about Jonathan Gannon for 30 minutes. We can talk about it all. Monti Ossenfort, I think, is the least culpable of anybody, really. Okay. And there's a couple of different reasons why. Okay. One, it's easy to be results oriented when discussing something after the fact.
Yep.
What Monti Ossenfort has done, by and large, is draft good players in value positions more than not. Would you agree with that part?
I do.
Okay.
I do agree with that. Yes.
The 2024 draft, by and large, was a miss. And a lot of that is because of injury. Unfortunately, at the top, it is not up until this point. Talk to me about Monti Ossenfort and where you see him in the storyline that is the Arizona Cardinals in 2025.
Alex, when it comes to blame with this team, listen, I'm a big, if your name is on the door, it's your fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, obviously, that starts at the top with Michael Bidwill. And the pattern that this team has kind of gone on for just such a long time. Listen, and I want people to realize that Michael has changed his tune, and they're doing a lot of things behind the scenes that I really like. They're doing a lot of things with fans that I really like. They need to be better with certain fans too as well. I believe they need to take better care of their regular season ticket holders and their regular fans. But Michael's doing a lot of things that I don't necessarily have a problem with. But when it comes to the football product, and this is what Cardinal fans point to, there just hadn't been a lot of success. And so to me, regardless of how it got there, it starts at the top. A boss gets all the blame, right? Then you go down past that. And to me, listen, you got to go with Monti Ossenfort, Jonathan Gannon. Above all else, those two are the biggest to blame to this season. I don't think I thought this team had plenty of talent on there, but what you're finding out now is that there are a lot of holes on this team, that they didn't address things that I think we all talked about in the offseason that they needed to address. Some glaring needs. You need another receiver at some point too as well. You need more help on the offensive line. You need better running backs too as well. I mean, the two guys went down. They had nowhere else to go right after that. Defensively, I think they're really weak at linebacker. Mack Wilson goes down in the middle. There's really no one else right behind him besides a young Cody Simon who needs to take time to grow. You know what I mean? And the way they play defense, Zaven Collins and BJ Ojulari, that they play more kind of like end styles. You know what I mean? So they need more help in the middle. So I blame Monty for a lot of that. They tried to address some needs, and it just didn't work out because of injury. But that's a miss for him.
Okay. But I get that. and zero NFL team is strong at all 22 positions.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's one.
No
okay, so listen, this is not deflecting blame in this Travis mockery of a season. Okay, this season, and for those little, I've done this twice in my 9 seasons. Look up who said Travis mockery in that commercial. Popular face. Better Call Saul. Popular face.
That's my favorite thing I think you've ever said. By the way.
Well, listen, it's not difficult.
And then Alex, real quick.
Yeah.
So Monty, to me, has a lot of blame for the way this roster was constructed. You know what I mean? There were holes there. Second, I'm going to go with JG. Now, I want to be on the record here, and I've said this a lot of times. I like JG. I think he coaches the right things. Players like playing for him. Guys respect him. They respond to him. But I don't think he's done enough to really shake up things in that building. I think there's a good culture there. I think they like coming to work every day. It's better than it has been in years past, way better than previous regimes, previous coaches that have been in there. So it's a good clubhouse, good locker room, however you want to phrase it. But the problem is today, when the season started to go sideways, while yes, I agree with a lot of the things JG does in his process, you have to figure out a way to make it right. You have to figure out a way to get that team back on track. And to an extent, I think he stood by and didn't necessarily watch and let it happen, but he watched and let it happen. You have to shake up some things, regardless of what, to get this season from going where it has been. And I don't think the head coach did enough at the beginning of the year when those close losses started to mount up to really get this team going in the right direction. You just bet on, hey, it's going to work. The process is going to click. At some point, it's going to all play out, and we got the talent, which they do have the talent. At just some point, it's all going to get right, and it didn't get right. And I just don't think they did enough from a coaching standpoint to get this season back on track. So those two guys hold the most blame in my eyes for this season.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Along with injuries.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the win-loss record, Jonathan Gannon should 100% be fired. Like, I'm not going to deny that. You look at it just in a vacuum, he's also had Kyler Murray for 1 full season. So say what you want about Kyler, whatever it is, that's going to be, it's not even needed to be discussed because he's not a part of the team right now. So while I agree, and I've been, really holding on to, you can't use injuries as an excuse ever. Like, it doesn't matter. You can't blame the refs. You can't use the injuries as an excuse. Yeah. At a certain point, when everybody's injured at some point this season, and you can't build any momentum on either side of the ball the way you want to, you can't run the ball because your 2 best running backs have been out since week 4. It's like, it's not an excuse. It's a main character in the plot this year. And it's the main character that is going to bring both of these guys back next year.
Yeah, it's a reality.
I think JJ should be gone. It makes sense. Fire him. I also understand he should come back because he had no shot this year.
Yeah. It's what fans don't like that sometimes, the reality of things. And that's the reality the Cards are dealing with. If I look at other situations where it's like this coach really deserves to be fired, I don't necessarily look at the Cardinals and say that's the current situation because of all the injuries. Like I said, I think JG is a good coach. I think he's surrounded himself with some good coaches. Now, I do think offensively that coaching staff is too inexperienced for me.
Yeah,
they miss a lot of details on offense, and people inside the building, I think, would agree with me on that. And I think they need to figure out a way to beef up that offensive staff big time. I don't necessarily have a problem with Drew Petzing and the way he's calling games. I do think around him, they just need some more guys so they can coach the details a little bit better. The offensive line clearly took a step back this year, but I think part of that problem is not so much getting more help on that old line, doubling down on issues you had from the year before and just thinking, hey, it's going to be better with time together. To me, that's not a way to operate. To me, I've never liked that. And so while we've seen some emergence, Michael Wilson shows you, hey, man, this guy is going to be around for a while. Trey McBride, maybe the best tight end of all football, future Hall of Famer. Like, those are all things that a guy like Michael Wilson just needed time to grow. Maybe some other guys on this offense need some of that too as well. But there are some glaring holes that they need to fix with that offense moving forward. And I think it starts by getting some better coaches in there to coach some details a little bit better.
Cam Cox, 12 News, joining me here. Should the Cardinals clean house in a different way? Cam doesn't know what I'm talking about, but I do, and that's really all that matters. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Prize Picks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports. Bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while we're all making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. All you got to do, pick more or less on at least 2-player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, Georgia. You can choose from a huge range of unique stats: fantasy score, field goals attempted, free throws made, turnovers, whatever it is. The stacks feature. This is my favorite. So say, Jacoby Brissett on Sunday. You want to take Jacoby Brissett's over passing yards, over touchdowns, and over attempts. You can do it all in one entry on Prize Picks starting this season. It's an absolute game changer. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Cam Cox joining me in this.
Merry Christmas, buddy.
Yeah, I wish we could just sing Kumbaya and Silent Night.
Hey,
for
do you know that?
minutes.
Do you know that Phoenix media member who said they were going to win 12 games this year? Do you know who that was?
I think it was Alex. Was it me? It was you? Yeah, dude. We were all so backwards this year. I think I said 10.
Man.
I think I said 10 or 11.
I meant 12 losses. I meant.
Yeah.
See, what happened was,
and
my
even
check
that's going to be wrong.
Checking in the savings takes 3 business days to get there. The thought was late, and we had to go. TV, once the red light comes on, you just can't.
That's right.
You can't. You can't wait. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. The wrap it up music, the Dave Chappelle wrap it up. Okay. Yeah. So this is something that you and I have broached before. Not the topic, but the timing in which I bring something up. And sometimes I'm crazy, sometimes I'm not. Budda Baker tweeted out before the game, last home game, I love Arizona Cardinals fans. Mm-hmm. I thought that was interesting. I know that he didn't say in 2025. I know that it's nothing to read in. Just let me get there. So Budda Baker hasn't had his best year this year. Okay. There's been a lot of injuries in the DB room, including his backup dancer and Jalen Thompson. The pass rush has pretty much been non-existent for a large chunk of this season, making Budda Baker's job exponentially more difficult, like it's been for the majority of the time he's been here. Correct. 2018, 2019, even his rookie year, it's been tough. And that's why I've been such a champion of his as of you, where it's like the dude's plugging 8 holes in a boat that's sinking. Yeah. He hasn't had 2 corners that are worth their weight at one time up until probably now over the course of time. So yeah, when he has one of his statistically worst seasons, a lot of missed tackles, regression, and then he gets voted as a Pro Bowler. Okay. This is where I'm going.
Okay.
I see other teams seeing blood in the water. They're like, this is the year. This is the offseason to pluck Budda Baker. Because, yes, he's got 1 year left on his deal, and then there's an opt-out in 2027. This is a perfect trade for, restructure, extend, next home for 3 or 4 years. You're talking Baltimore. You're talking Philly. You're talking the big-name teams that see Budda Baker and a sinking ship with the Arizona Cardinals for now, and it's a perfect time to do it because it's a perfect time to do it. So I'm seeing this now as, I'd love to have Budda Baker back and retire. I always said he's going to go to Seattle for the last couple of years of his career because he went to UW and it makes sense.
Yep.
Is this the year after extending him last offseason that they trade Budda Baker?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so because I believe they think inside that building that this team is closer than we all think it is. And I think if you can allow some players to continue to grow and build around it, that this rebuild, even talking with some guys in there, that they don't feel like they're too far off if you don't have all of the injuries, right? There are some clear areas that we all know that they need to improve on. We've talked about that, right? But if I'm building a team, here's what I don't like, Alex, and I'm dealing with it with the D-backs right now, and I'm trying to, thinking about trading Ketel Marte. I just don't like getting rid of good, talented players.
I agree.
Because you have to replace said good, talented players with more good, talented players. And draft picks are just hope. I mean, it literally hope and potential. You hope you get it right. And then that's usually a project. You're seeing that with Will Johnson. Listen, he's not that he's hit a rookie wall, but people were wondering in late November, early December, what happened to Will Johnson? Nothing. He's been going hard ever since January. Your body gets tired. BA used to talk about that all the time. Rookies, they don't hit a wall, but they just get tired in November and in December because of everything that they've been through since the end of college. It's human nature, man. And so, yeah, I think he'll be better next year. No, I do not think it's time that the Cardinals explore trading Buda Baker, because to me, if you're trying to get this defense right and you're trying to grow this defense and you're trying to make sure that this defense is can be better next year, to me it's better with Buda Baker back there on the back end than anything
And I
else.
agree. I agree. I'm not saying they should. I was the one who was champion. Like, lest we forget, people have such short memories. People wanted to move off Buda and James Conner last.
Alex, to your point, there's a lot of money tied up in that safety position.
Yeah,
more so than others. And you got Rabbit right there, kind of ready to roll and step into another, maybe some more playing time. So I don't know how they look at it that yet. I haven't asked around on that yet, but I will say I would prefer Buda on this team than somewhere else.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the whole plan, at least, was for Rabbit Taylor Deverson to supplant Jalen Thompson. He's a perfect fit. He's a young Jalen Thompson. Yeah. And he'd be great to go with the Thunder and Lightning with Buda Baker. Like, I'm not saying they should. I'm saying the tea leaves are making me think that there's more of a proclivity for it to happen this offseason than not. Now, pivoting to James Conner, okay? There is an out at the end of this season for James Conner. James Conner has been a vision since coming over. He's been the best offensive player the Arizona Cardinals have had outside of Kyler Murray. He was the offense with Cliff. I know it was DeAndre Hopkins. I know it was that. He was the heartbeat. They ran him into the ground, and that's why he was injured every year, because they knew that James Conner worked. You run it back with him too? And hope that Trey Benson's healthy? Or is this kind of like with the clean house, it's not that you ever want to see James Conner in a different uniform. It's those aren't Monty's guys. So while they're so important, and while Buda Baker was in Monti Ossenfort's voice saying you want everybody to be like Buda Baker in his introductory press conference, does it matter now?
One thing to add, Jalen Thompson, by the way, a free agent next year. So to me, that even more so solidify. I looked that up. Even more so solidifies the fact that I don't think they trade Buda, because now Dadrian Taylor Demerson can get back there and slide in. So James Conner is going to be 31 next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to figure out a way to say thank you, but we probably got to go in a different direction.
Even as a backup, even in a LeGarrette Blount role, like 40%er?
Possibly. I would keep. I think getting James Conner on your team is better than not.
Of course.
It all depends on what they do in the first round. Do they go out and get a running back? There's some running backs there worth taking. Let me tell you something, Alex, before we even get to the draft. Hold on. Stop it before you say that. Don't you do that. And let me tell you why. What does this team need? They need more playmakers. They need more playmakers with speed. You have to figure out a way to get more talent at key positions on this team. So
how's that working for Atlanta?
How's that work? They haven't surrounded him with anybody. Where's the rest of the talent? Where's the rest of the talent?
Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. How much more do you need? Like, they need.
You're picking the raw guys. Bijan Robinson is fantastic,
but
around him you don't have necessarily the key playmakers that you need. So you need more talent. You need better players. You need more speed. I'm all for it. I want to build a football team with some more speed and more talent. I do think you figure out a way to probably get another running back in here at some point. You got to start looking towards the future. Great
segue.
31.
So you've done this before in multiple cities around the U.S. What are the bright spots for the Arizona Cardinals as I squeeze in one last thing with Cam Cox before he goes and does a lot more important things? We'll discuss it next. For me, Cam Cox, 12 News, Will Johnson is the bright star going into 2026. For me, especially, and this was under the guys, like, say they do move Buda Baker, like, you're probably right. He's probably going to come back, but he's going to be the face of the future for this team. We don't know what's going to happen with Garrett Williams at this point. Yeah. Like, do you extend Garrett Williams when he's the new Jason Verrett? It's like, he's had more serious injuries in his career than years played in the NFL. So
and they still need another corner. You're hoping Max can take a jump. Max Melton,
Denzel Burke has shown promise.
Denzel Burke has showed promise, but you still got to need to bring in another guy.
Yeah,
got to bring in a veteran to fight with those young guys.
I agree. So bright spots going into 2026. It's difficult because, Walter Nolan showed flashes.
I don't think it's difficult. So let's just go down the list here. All right.
Yeah.
I want to see Trey Benson healthy.
Yeah.
I want to see Trey Benson healthy. I think everybody wants to see what he could do He looked really good early on in the year, so he'll obviously be back next year. We'll see what he can do. Trey McBride is a monster, right?
Yep.
Paris Johnson Jr., a monster. Yelda Froholt, I believe, has another year too as well. Couple years, I think. And then they need to rebuild, retool some of that offensive
The
line.
right side.
Yeah, the right side for sure, without question, the right side. Better pay Paris Johnson Jr. this offseason. At least start talking about it, in my eyes. Michael Wilson has shown you, hey, man, you deserve to be on this team long term.
You
Maybe
extend
that
him
one,
this offseason. You get a year ahead of that because he's got 1 year
sure.
left. It's $11.
Yeah.
You extend him before he gets
Yeah.
Christian Kirk money elsewhere.
I wouldn't mind extending him. I think that puts some pressure on Marv to be better.
Yeah, good.
Marv needs to be more consistent. They need another receiver to compete with those two, flat out, period. Because Marv has not shown he can be that one yet,
Nope.
regardless of what anybody says. He just hasn't. Drops way too many passes and is overall too inconsistent at this point if he's not getting involved early. Defensive line, when Walter's healthy, that man is going to be a monster. I like some of the additions too on the D line as well. I hope they bring back Calais Campbell. I hope he's willing to come back another year. I think Darius Robinson, if he can stay healthy, he can be a guy that they can count on. Outside linebacker, to me, it's kind of somewhat of a mess. You don't know what you have in BJ Ojulari. Zaven Collins, he's consistently a solid football player. I think they need someone who makes some more impact, though, but we'll see. Josh Sweat is a monster. But again, we've seen that before, too, as well, where the Cardinals have a monster on the outside rushing the passer in Chandler Jones. And what did that lead to? What did it lead to? No playoff wins. So, you gotta pair Josh Sweat with some guys that can get up and go and cover. I like Mac Wilson in the middle, but he needs some help. Can Cody Simon grow up? You talked about the young cornerbacks. I think they're going to take a big step all together, that group. But you got to bring in a vet. Maybe it's Sean Murphy-Bunting coming back when he's healthy. Maybe not. Maybe you bring in a high-priced vet to compete with those guys and let them go. So I think there are some bright spots with this roster. They're not as far off as people think. But this offseason, you've got to get free agency right. It's just so crucial. It's so important that this team – and I hope Monty and JG are under some kind of playoff or bust result because that's what it should be. This team is not totally, going to the roots to rebuild. You got plenty of pieces to build off of. Keep some of those. Add some talent, please. And you got to get the quarterback situation right. I don't like teams reaching for quarterbacks. You see it all over the draft. To me, it makes my head hurt, Alex, so much in the offseason when people are like, oh, there could be 17 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I'm like, why? Just because you need a quarterback, you have to go reach and grab one and give him the keys to your franchise? Kyler Murray was a no-brainer decision 7 years ago. He was the best quarterback in the draft, best player in the draft. Go get him and see if you can make it work long term. There's not that guy this year. Don't go reaching for guys that you don't think can truly help this franchise grow. Plenty of pieces to grow on. They got to get the quarterback situation right and figure out what they're doing with that moving forward. Once they do that, then this roster can start going.
And it's going to be interesting because, yes, lame duck. I don't like that. I like, you know what, you
got to prove it.
But on the last year of your deal. Yeah,
flip it. Prove it. It's not a lame duck. Prove it. Like in college, maybe. In other sports, maybe. But like here, you're seriously proving that you deserve to be here long term.
No, that's right.
It's not a lame duck. And you're not recruiting too. So it's like this is professional sports. Go prove that you deserve to be here past these years.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, listen, they've got all the ingredients. They've got draft picks, they've got money, they've got young players. You want to torch the next 2 years of top picks to trade for talent? Do it. Like, and this isn't like a, hey, save your job, burn the house down kind of thing. But it's just like, if you can be calculated, you've got all of the ingredients to make a damn pie, go make a damn pie. Like you can't hold on them for later, especially those two dudes. So yeah, it'll be fascinating. Are you running back with Jacoby Brissett in 2026?
I think so. And you figure out where you go, from there. If there is a quarterback they really like, maybe, but I think Jacoby is the best bet to run it back and see if they can make happen. I will say listen, Jacoby is fun. I like Jacoby. I like that he can stand in the pocket, deliver throws downfield. The problem though that you see is when he's under that pressure and they can't protect him, like he's going down. And he can't necessarily make all those plays that Kyler could make with his legs and extend drives. So that offensive line has got to be better. Maybe to your point, when you do this, when I say you draft the running back, maybe don't draft a running back. Maybe draft 3 offensive linemen. And you'll call it a day.
Yeah, I also was the one who said Gray Zabel at 16, but everybody said I was crazy. Cam, tell people where they can find you, bro.
Cam Cox 12, and whenever you call me again.
Whatever I call you again.
Yeah, whenever. Yeah, where they can find me when you call me again to come back.
Oh yeah. I thought you were going to say me call you an elf again. That doesn't make any sense. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hope everybody has a great time with their family. I'll be doing crossover Thursday.
Hey, real quick, best Christmas movie.
Best Christmas movie?
Yeah.
I'd say probably Home Alone.
Okay. I love Jingle All the Way.
Okay. Arnold.
Just one of my
Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Without
Turbo
you,
time.
there is no me.
Nobody still likes Booster.
No Arnold. No Moss.